do you get your content out there in an environment where you can get the analytics and where you can monetize it? So, and of course, from that standpoint, you can engage users even more, both from your content perspective as well as brands. So we really kind of talked to a lot of people about going forward, like not just 1 year from now, but 5 years from now, like what do you want your world to look like in terms of like how you're engaging with your audiences and then how you're actually working with the brands? And I think that's the real core of what we've been helping people do.
From our side, it's really about talking about the different types of content we can produce and then what the right audience is, more even than the right channel, and where that audience then lives.
I think you should diversify and make it an iterative process, right? It's kind of, it's testing and experimental to figure out what's working, what is your audience on that particular platform. Yes, you will probably find that some platforms are stronger than others, but often that's hard to predict until you started dabbling in it.
I think the big thing that we talk about is like, from a distribution standpoint, you got to think about each of these as endpoints of your distribution strategy. So, one of the key things we do is provide tech to enable distribution, but at the end of the day, your audiences are where your audiences are and you want to be there, but those audiences can shift quickly to some other platform that's the hot new thing. So how do you enable a distribution platform where it's easy to add on an additional place where your audience just shifted to?
I think when you think about moving people, right, getting them to change a behavior, that's a hard thing to do. So if you're going to say, I want everybody to be on my YouTube channel and I'm going to hit them with content on Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram and I'm going to direct everybody to YouTube, you're shifting a behavior. And that's hard to do. It takes more time, it takes more money. So give them what they want right where they're at, right then and there. And if it's not on your channel yet, partner with a creator and get it in front of them where they live, because that's going to be the easiest way to get them to know your brand.
You can't just look at pushing the same asset to every platform because they're not apples to apples, right? So, YouTube is search-based, performs really well for searchable content and for longer formats. Facebook and Twitter now have native video with autoplay in the feed, so you have to think about what's the edit that captures people's attention as they're scrolling by in that feed. Obviously, Instagram and Vine are totally different formats.
Engagement is a really broad term, and it means a lot of different things. So I think someone mentioned earlier in one of the panels that it's about really understanding your objective and your KPI when you set out. So engagement can be as simple like an engagement can be a view, an engagement can be a share, which everyone sort of wants the share, right? And all of those are valuable at different levels, and they're more valuable from different audiences.
Whatever the engagement metric is on those platforms, make it super easy for users, basically remove friction. Remove friction for them to act on your piece of content or act with your brand. So we focused on subscribers for a long time, but now we're actually looking at daily views or monthly views because that's such a important metric from an engagement perspective and how many people are actively watching those videos, because if they're really old subscribers, they may never ever look at that channel's videos. So really it's those monthly views that are super important. Yeah, we'll definitely look at the metrics, of course, like the analytics and what's happening. I think the important thing is to not just always focus on that top tier, creator that everyone's trying to engage with. Like, look at your segment and who are the people that are really getting strong monthly video views for that particular segment, and really go after those.
It's kind of similar to in social media. There's a lot of different ways brands arrived at their social following counts, and some of them weren't organic and don't have the most active subscribers. So really, asking the network to show me some data on engagement across platform. Of course, you should be asking what's the multi-platform reach, so not just what are typical YouTube views and comments, but what's the typical Facebook reach, what's the engagements, the reshares,
Data is really like the gold mine here, right? So demand that from your partners. Push your analytics as far as it will possibly go. Share a voice and changing conversation and who you're moving in that conversation, absolutely important. But most of us, at the end of the day, are here to sell a product or sell a service or get someone to sign up to do something. So push as hard as you can to get the analytics to go as far as you can in that process. And the good creators who value their partnerships with you will give you data.